welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian and today I have a bit of a special video for you guys. So a few weeks ago on Twitter I asked people for their favorite Christmas songs and I got a lot of answers. I got way more than I actually was expecting, and the reason that I asked is because I wanted to do this video where I recommend to you guys books based off of your favorite Christmas songs. So I'm not going to get to all of them because I got way more answers than I was expecting, so I'm really sorry if I didn't get to the ones that you said, but I tried my best. So I did my best looking for books that I could recommend based on these Christmas songs. By the way, there's a lot of snowplows and cars and stuff driving by right now, so if you hear all that noise, I am very sorry, but apparently now is the prime time for that. So yeah, so let's just get started with the songs. So the first song that I have is Last Christmas, which is definitely the most popular answer I got. A lot of people said this song. So this song is a classic. Everybody knows this song, everybody loves this song, obviously because you guys kept saying it was your favorite. It's about someone, and last Christmas they gave their heart to someone and then they were like, no thank you, and then they just completely ditched that person and found someone else, and so they're saying this year I'm giving my heart to someone special. So a great message, I guess. But the book that I want to recommend based off this song is One Day in December by Josie Silver. I just finished reading this for the second time and I absolutely love this book. This book is fitting for the Christmas time because, I mean, there is December in the title, and even though the whole book doesn't take place around the Christmas season, winter and especially December is a very big part of the book. So this book is about this girl named Lori and this guy named Jack, and one day at the very beginning of the book, Lori is on the bus, and at one of the bus stops she looks out the window and sees this guy, and they lock eyes and immediately fall in love, and he rushes to the bus but doesn't make it in time, and then she's always wondered who that guy is, and then fast forward a year later and her best friend is introducing her to her new boyfriend, and lo and behold, it is the guy from the bus stop and his name is Jack. So this book follows these two over the next 10 years as they both still have feelings for each other, but now Jack is dating this girl's best friend, and it's very complicated, this book. There's a lot of drama in this book, and I know not everyone loves this book, Jess, but I really love it. I don't know, there's just something about it that I really love, and I think it fits this song because, you know, last Christmas, Lori finds out that her best friend is dating Jack exactly, or almost exactly, a year after she sees him on the bus. So it's like last Christmas she gave her his heart, but not literally the very next day, but then he gave it away to her best friend without knowing it. So I think it fits. So if you like this song, I think you will like this book. So the next song is It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, which this might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like a lot of people know the Michael Bublé, or they listen to the Michael Bublé version of this song the most. I don't like Michael Bublé. I do not listen to his Christmas album ever. I hate his well, hate is a strong word, but I really just don't like his voice very much, and yeah, so I'm very sorry, but I do not listen to that song. Well, I don't listen to his version of that song. So this song is obviously about the very beginning of the winter season, even before the winter season, when the first snow falls and it's starting to look like Christmas, you know, like the title of the song says. I mean, I get in the Christmas mood basically as soon as Halloween ends. I'm like ready for Christmas time, but I find once the first snow happens, then I really start to get in the Christmas mood because, I don't know, Christmas and snow just go hand in hand together in my mind. So the song is all about it's beginning to look like Christmas, and Christmas for many people is the most joyful time of year, the best time of year. Personally, it's the time of year I look forward to the most every year, and so I tried to think of a book that gave me that joy that I feel at Christmas time. So this isn't a Christmas book, but this is a book that gives me a lot of joy, just like Christmas does. So the book that I'm going to be recommending is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel series about these two boys, Nick and Charlie, and Nick, I always mix them up. No, Charlie, okay. They're two high school boys, and Charlie is openly gay, and he meets Nick, who he thinks is straight, and Nick also thinks that he is straight. But then they strike up this friendship, and Charlie starts to fall for Nick, and Nick might be falling for Charlie also, but he has never had a crush on a boy before, so he's wondering maybe he's bisexual, and it goes from there. And the series is just pure joy in my opinion. I love these books so much, especially this first one. I mean, I think my personal favorite is the second one, but this one is, you know, when they meet and it's beginning to look like something. This book just brings me a lot of joy, just like Christmas does, so I would really recommend this book if you love that song. So the next song is Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift. So obviously I love this song a lot because it's by Taylor Swift, and we all know I'm a huge Swiftie. I'm obsessed. We all know this, and I am very happy that someone said this song because I love talking about this song. The song came out last year, I think. Has it been a year? It feels like this song came out like 10 years ago. But anyways, I love this song so much, and it's all about Taylor looking back when she was younger, growing up on a Christmas tree farm, and the main theme that I took from the song is nostalgia, this feeling of nostalgia. And so I was trying to think what book gave me nostalgia, and the book that I am going to recommend, once I say it, you might be like, how did that book give you nostalgia? But I'll tell you in a second. So the book that I am going to be recommending is Circe by Madeline Miller, and the reason that I am recommending this book for this song is because when I was reading this book, I kept thinking to myself, wow, I really wish I could go back to the time when I wasn't reading this book, because I really did not like this book. I thought it was so boring and so long, and I mean, it's my own fault for not DNFing it, but I was still at that point where I couldn't bring myself to DNF books because there was always this little voice in my head that was like, what if it gets better? Like, what if the ending is just so amazing and you're gonna miss it? And I didn't miss anything because it was just boring the whole way through, and I'm really sorry. I know everyone, or not everyone, but I know a lot of people love this book, and I just really didn't. So when I was reading this book, I just kept thinking back to before I had read this book, and I wished I could tell myself, do not pick this book up because you will not like it. That's why I'm recommending this book for the song. So the next song I got from Iris, and the song that they said is called Tulkun Julu. I am so sorry if I am butchering that name, but this is a Finnish song, and so I'd never heard the song, and when I played it, I mean, I don't know what they're saying in the song, but this song was just so beautiful and so heartbreaking sounding. So since the main vibes I got from the song were beautiful yet heartbreaking, the only book that came to mind was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I actually finished this book a couple days ago, and I absolutely loved it. It's so good. So this book follows this girl named Addie LaRue, and she is born in the 1700s, and she is supposed to be marrying this guy that she is not in love with, and she feels trapped and she just wants to be free. So she ends up praying to this god, but she prays to a god at night, which is when the bad gods come out, and so she ends up making a deal with the devil. It's not really the devil, but that's kind of how this book is marketed as, but she makes a deal with the devil, and she gets her freedom, and she ends up being able to live for as long as she wants, but everyone she meets will forget her. So she lives this very lonely life, and we go back and forth between the past timeline after she makes this deal and the present timeline of 2014, where she meets someone that ends up remembering her. And so this book, it's one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read. The writing style is just so gorgeous, so amazing. I fell in love with it right away, and it's just one of the most beautiful stories I've ever read, but it's also heartbreaking because Addie is so lonely for so long. Like, she spends 300 years being basically alone, even though she's around people all the time. Like, having people not remember you, it's just, I can't even imagine. And yeah, it's just, like I said, beautiful yet heartbreaking. So I would really recommend this book based off of that song. Oh no, my battery's flashing. Hopefully we can get through this. So the next song that was said was Wit It this Christmas. I don't know how to say that and make it sound good, but it's not with it, it's wit it. Wit it, wit it, wit it, whatever. Wit it, wit it. Anyways, by Ariana Grande, and I love Ariana's Christmas album. Like, all those songs are bops, so I really love this song. And this song, it's very sexual, you know, we got those sexual tones, which is very good, you know. I mean, I don't personally... Anyways, good for her, I don't know. The song is very sexual, and so I had to think of a sexual book. And I don't read too many romance books that are very smutty. Like, I personally don't like reading sex scenes very much, especially explicit sex scenes. That's just not my thing. I just prefer not to read that. So I usually read romance books that have like fade to black sex scenes, or they're just not very descriptive and it's like they were joined forevermore. And like, we all know that means that you know. Anyways, so I had to think of a book that, you know, got that sexual thing going on. So the book that I'm going to be recommending, the reason I'm recommending this book is that I don't actually like this book very much, but I think the one thing that this book did really well was there is one sex scene in this book, and it's probably the most well-written part of the book, because I think that this book is written so badly. I think the writing is just not good in this book. But then I got to this scene and I was like, why is this scene written so well but the rest of the book is just not written well? So anyways, the book that I'm going to be recommending is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, and this book follows a witch and a witch hunter, and for some stupid reason they have to get married, but the witch hunter doesn't know that the girl is a witch, so she's trying to keep that from him, and then we all know where that goes. So yeah, I don't love this book. I've made it very known on my channel that I don't like this book very much, but there is a sex scene and I was like, I don't mind this. Like, I don't mind it. So anyways, if you like that song, I think maybe you will like this book. At least you will like that scene in this book. Okay, my battery did end up dying, so if the angle looks any different, then that's why. So the next song that someone mentioned was Christmas Eve by Justin Bieber, and I actually had never heard this song before. I think the only Christmas song that I ever heard by Justin Bieber was Mistletoe, which is iconic. Honestly, that's a personal favorite of mine. That song slaps. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. But this song I'd never heard before, so I gave it a listen. So once I listened to this song, I realized, is Justin Bieber supposed to be Santa Claus in the song? So I looked up the lyrics and there's lyrics like, in the second verse it says, "You leave some cookies out, I'ma eat 'em all. Nobody can see me but you, it's so magical, oh oh. Yeah, the North Pole ain't that cold if you want to go, I got you baby girl." Like, it kind of sounds like he's Santa and he's just gonna come get this girl and they're gonna ride in his sleigh and, you know. So I was trying to think of what book I could recommend based off of this song, and actually I just finished a book that could go perfectly with the song, and that is A Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. This is kind of like a Santa origin story. It's a middle grade about this boy named Nicholas, obviously, and he's very poor and he only lives with his father, and his father goes on this expedition and doesn't come back, so this boy kind of sets off to find him, and then during that journey he finds elves and he finds a reindeer, and there's just a lot of stuff that happens that lead him to becoming Santa Claus eventually. And I actually really like this book. I'll talk more about it in my wrap-up when I get to that, but the reason I'm recommending this book is because it's a Santa origin story. So this kid becomes Santa Claus, and Justin Bieber is apparently Santa Claus, so it works well together. So the next song that someone mentioned is obviously All I Want for Christmas Is You, and quite a few people mentioned this song as well. So the song is obviously iconic. Everybody loves this song. Who could not love this song? I don't know. But this song, I feel like this is one of the first Christmas songs that everyone plays every single year because this song just immediately gets you into the Christmas mood. It's great. And so I was thinking about this song and I was thinking, okay, all I want for Christmas is you. So what do I want for Christmas? Well, what I want for Christmas is what you want for Christmas. And I think what everyone should want for Christmas is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And this just happens to be my favorite book of all time. And so I think that this book should be on your Christmas list. I think this should be what you want for Christmas because it's my favorite book. So if you don't know, maybe you're new here, maybe you've never heard me talk about this book before, but this book follows this man named Laszlo Strange, and he is an outcast and he is obsessed with this lost city of Weep, and the city has kind of become a myth. No one really believes that it actually existed except for Laszlo, and then one day he maybe gets the chance to go to the city, and that's all I'm gonna say because this book is best going into not knowing too much. So if you love me and want to support me and my channel, you will read this book and you will ask for it for Christmas. Not me trying to force things upon you, but yes, please read it. Okay. So the next song that someone said is Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande. This is another song by Ariana Grande, which I just realized I have two of her songs, but it's fine because this song is also iconic. So this song is about Ariana, and she's just asking Santa to tell her if this guy that she's into will still be here next Christmas, because if he won't, she'll just move on and find someone else, but she really wants this guy to still be around next Christmas. And so I was just kind of thinking, first of all, why is she asking Santa to tell her this? Because Santa's not a deity, he's just this guy who brings you presents every year, but maybe she's treating him like her own god. I don't know, that's not up for me to have an opinion on, but she clearly wants this guy to still be around next year. And so I was trying to think of what book I could maybe recommend that has similar themes to that, and the one that I thought of is kind of a spoiler if I explain why I see a connection between this song and this book. But the book that I'm going to recommend is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. I can't really explain why this book makes me think of this song. It has to do with how this book ends and how I think the sequel will go. So if you've read this book, I hope you can see where my mind is going. Do you see? I hope so. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but it gives me an excuse to recommend this book. But this book is also one of my favorite books of all time. I just love this book so much. But it is about this girl named Kalia, and she is a magician, and at the beginning of the book she kind of has this teacher that she's working with named Jack, but he kind of has a control over her, and she doesn't feel like, she feels like she could do more than what she does with him. And so she finds out about this competition that is happening in this nearby city called Glorian, and so she ends up escaping and going to the city, and she enters this competition, and lots of things go on from there. There's magic. This is very reminiscent of Phantom of the Opera, and there may be another guy in that city of Glorian that I'm in love with. It might be true. But I love this book so much. It's so good. Please read it. This book is so underrated. Like, I thought this was gonna be one of the most popular books this year on BookTube, and that didn't happen, and I'm really upset about it. So please read this book. It's so good, and I hope you see the connection if you have read it between this song and Santa Tell Me. But yeah, I recommend this book. So the next song that someone said is Dominic the Donkey, which I thought I had never heard before, but then I listened to it and I was like, oh yeah, I know the song. I feel like everyone knows the song whether they actually remember it or not, but it's a classic. It's a classic. So this song, I didn't really know what to recommend based off of the song, so I kind of went the easy route. Oh no, I need to delete stuff off my camera, be right back. This song, I kind of took the easy way out, and the book that I'm going to be recommending is The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill, because, you know, Dominic the Donkey, everyone loves this donkey, and in this book everyone loves these tea dragons. I don't know, that was the best I could do, but this book is just about, you know, tea dragons, and if you make tea out of the leaves that grow on their antlers, then you can kind of see their memories, and it's just very wholesome. I love this series so much. It's a graphic novel, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, but it's just the art style in this is just so beautiful. Like, I love this series so much, and it just makes me feel good, and I recommend this to everyone. Like, I don't know how this book can't make you happy, but if you want to be happy, read this book. I don't know, I'm not a professional therapist, but it works. Okay, so the next song is actually a song that I always forget about, but every time I hear it, I just remember how much I love this song, and that is Christmas Wrapping. I just find this song so much fun, and I don't know, there's just something about it that I really love. So the lyrics of this song kind of are about this person who they feel very alone during the holidays, and so they're kind of, I mean, at the very beginning of the song they say bah humbug, you know, so it kind of gives me some Scrooge vibes, and maybe if I had read The Afterlife of Holly Chase by now, then I would recommend that book, but I still haven't read it. So the book that I'm going to recommend is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and our main character, Linus, I wouldn't say he's a Scrooge type. Like, he's not very grumpy, I wouldn't say, but the journey that he kind of goes on in this book is kind of reminiscent of Scrooge's journey, I would say, because Linus ends up, okay, so I should explain what it's about, but this book is about Linus, who is a caseworker, and it's kind of his job to visit orphanages that take care of magical children and make sure that they are safe there and that the orphanage is being run properly and all of that. And he gets this assignment that is very, like, confidential. He's not allowed to talk about it, and he ends up going to this other orphanage. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and the children at this orphanage are like, they're magical in a way that no one has ever really seen, and so he has to go see if the person who's running this orphanage if he is fit to run this orphanage and all of that. So it's very, I mean, the found family trope is very much present in this book. This book is so good. It's so wholesome. I love this book so much. It's one of my favorite books of the year, and I thought of this book from this song because in this song, like, she's very grumpy and she just wants this guy that she keeps seeing, and then they keep missing each other, and then finally, I think at the end of the song, they like finally find each other. And so it kind of makes me think of this book because Linus is also pretty lonely. He's in his 40s, I think, and he doesn't have a partner, and then he finds this family, you know, found family, with these kids at this orphanage, and also there might be a little something something with him and the guy who's running the orphanage. I don't know, but yeah, I think if you like that song, you will love this book. So the last song that I want to talk about is actually my personal favorite Christmas song, but Manda, thank you Manda, she also mentioned the song, and that is Mary Did You Know, specifically the Pentatonix version. It's so good. It's so good. So this song, it's just so good. It's so good. So I had to think of a book that was worthy of being compared to this song, and I have the perfect book, but again, part of the reason why I'm choosing this book is kind of a spoiler, so I'm not gonna completely explain the connection between this song and this book, but if you've read it, hopefully you see where I'm coming from. But that book is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I read this very recently. I only read it last month, and again, this is another one of my favorite books of the year. I love this book so much. This is a book about this girl named Bree, and at the beginning of the book, her mother dies in a car accident, so Bree is dealing with a lot of grief, and she gets accepted into the school in a early college program. And so on her first night at this school, she's at a party, and then this attack happens, but she's kind of the only one who can really see what's going on, and so she finds out about the secret society at the school called the Legendborn, and they are basically the descendants of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and she has a feeling that the secret society had something to do with her mother's death. So her and this other guy named Nick, who is part of the Legendborn, she kind of gets his help to help her basically infiltrate the secret society to find out more about her mother's death. And there's a reason why I'm recommending this book based off of this song. I don't really want to explain it because it's a spoiler. It's something that you find out in the book. So if you have read this, again, hopefully you see the connection that I'm trying to make, and if not, then I have failed apparently. But I really recommend this book. It's so good, so please read it. And also, please listen to Mary Did You Know by Pentatonix, because that song is so good. I listen to it, like, once I listen to it once, I have to listen to it at least 10 more times. Like, it's so good. It's so good. So please listen to that song and then read this book and then tell me if you see the connection. So that's it for all the songs. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you see where I'm coming from recommending some of these books, but this was really fun to do. And let me know if there are other types of videos you want to see where I recommend books based off of something, because I really love doing these types of videos. So yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to see from me. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!